Simmons wants out of Philly, but can his co-star Joel Embiid be the key to keeping him a 76er, at least for now? Only one goal for America's team. Are the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl hopes resting entirely on that man's shoulders? Right there, Dak Prescott. And the Patriots have moved on from Cam Newton. Has the former MVP played his last snap in the NFL? Good Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jenna Wolf, Chris Broussard, Nick Wright. Man, we had some wild weather that passed through New York last night. So many people cleaning up after flash floods, all of it. Kevin Wildes lost power, lost internet, lost his mind. He's hoping to join us shortly, but for now, he's not going to start the show with us, Nick.
Jenna, one silver lining, because my house flooded, basement flooded, total disaster here in Manhattan. But
Awful.
In the mail arrived yesterday. You recognize this, Jenna? The old Bible of the NFL season? Couldn't leave the house,
that's your
had to hunker down.
ever.
Oh, yeah. That means it's football season, America. Football Outsiders Almanac in the mail, highlighted
He
400
loves it.
pages. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it.
The first year we started this show, Broussard, Nick brought that book in. I thought he did it as a joke. I laughed for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
He wasn't joking. He reads it cover to cover.
Not joking.
That is his
Annual
thing.
tradition. Yeah.
All right. Hopefully we get Wildes back with us momentarily. We'll see where we are with that. We got to start though this morning in Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers set to start what could be his last season as a Packer. But hey, at least we're here. We weren't sure if Aaron Rodgers was going to be on the field at all this season, with the rumors swirling about all summer about how unhappy he was. But after restructuring his deal at the end of July, it's been a quiet camp, and it's been a seemingly smooth lead up to Game 1. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst now on his quarterback's involvement in that final roster construction.
Did Aaron Rodgers consult with you, or did you reach out and consult with Aaron about any of the moves you made yesterday?
You know, I've had really good conversations throughout camp with Aaron and Matt, and I think the communication has been really, really good. And so as we went into this kind of decision-making period, I think, everybody, all the people that are kind of involved in that were very aware of what was going on and why we were doing what we were doing. So I feel really good about that. And the conversations that I've had with Aaron have been excellent.
All right, Nick, I know we should appreciate that Aaron Rodgers is here and he's playing and we should just enjoy it, but is there any hope the Packers can still work things out with Aaron Rodgers beyond this season? Dare we look ahead?
Oh, how I've been waiting for this moment since the momentous day this Monday when Chris Broussard officially became a member of the show. I've been waiting for a chance to do this. It's over between the Packers and Aaron Rodgers after this season. There's no saving it. There is nothing anyone's going to be able to do.
Do it again.
I think now official show predictions are coming out Monday. So I don't want to spoil anything, but as I'm inserting the data and trying to figure out who's going to be where, I'm leaning towards the Packers being in the Super Bowl for the first time in a decade with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback. But even that, I do not think can salvage this relationship. Broussard, I've gone back at least once and rewatched that Aaron Rodgers press conference dissertation where he very clearly, calmly, and not concisely because it was rather long, but cogently laid out his reasons for why he was upset, what he thinks happened, and how the relationship has soured between he and the front office. None of that is going to change because Rodgers and the Packers are awesome this year, as I think they will be. And if they're terrible or mediocre or just pretty good, obviously that wouldn't change it. And Broussard, what I think has further damaged the Packers' chances of retaining Aaron Rodgers is what we've seen over the last few months, reports from other teams. Like, hey, Arizona, when it came to their offseason moves, they consulted Kyler Murray. He's been with the team 2 years. Philly talked about how they used to consult with Wentz. Brady, we know, gets to Tampa Bay. What do you want, Tom? Sean Payton talked about how Drew Brees was essentially a de facto member of the coaching staff. So Aaron got confirmation, not that he needed it, that what he wanted and wants is not out of the norm for great quarterbacks, or even in Kyler and Wentz's case, young, new quarterbacks, but guys you spent a high draft pick on. So, no, I don't think the relationship is salvageable, even if they make the Super Bowl.
All right, Nick, before I address your point, let me address your Kenny Smith / Chris Broussard imitation. It needs work. All right, it needs work, buddy.
Okay.
All right, you said you're gonna be hunkered down, locked in the house, reading that almanac. Work on that imitation too. So I give you a C minus. All right, I give you a C minus on that. You can raise that up, but
better than I would have
Nick, I couldn't disagree more. Now, I'm not saying he's definitely staying. You'd be crazy to say he's definitely staying in Green Bay for the long haul. But I also think Aaron Rodgers is in a tremendous situation, and he's smart enough to know it. And I get what you'll say. Wherever Aaron Rodgers goes, they're going to have a chance to win the Super Bowl. And I'm with you on that. Okay. But that said, he's with a historic organization. He's got, obviously they need to re-sign Devontae Adams after this year. If that happens, he's got arguably the best wide receiver in the league. He's got one of the best running backs in the league who just re-signed for a long-term deal. He's had one of the best offensive lines in the league recently. He's got a hot young coach who has led them to back-to-back NFC title games and 13-3 records. And he's got a top 10 defense. So I get that the relationship is jacked up and that's what was bothering him. But I do think there's enough time to mend the fences, at least to the point where Rodgers could stay. Because, again, he's always said, Nick, I love it in Green Bay, and I hope to finish my career here. If this year goes well, I'm not talking even about on the field yet. I'm talking about in the relationship with Goody Coos. I call him Goody. He calls me Brew. We do that thing. So if Rodgers and Goody can get it together, and look, you mentioned a legendary press conference, right, with Rodgers. Rodgers unloaded on Goody. And what did Goody Coos do? He took it. He took it. And then the next day or two, whenever it was, he comes out and they sign Randall Cobb just because Aaron wanted him. And he admitted it. We did it because Aaron wanted it. Okay, that's why we did it. And so I think over this whole year, they got a whole year to mend the fences, to listen to Aaron, to hear his input, and make him feel like he's, definitely being heard in this organization. And then when they offer him a long-term extension with no outs early for them, that he knows he can be there long-term, I think there's a good chance they could keep him.
Well, let me throw a little curveball into this, because I think there's the relationship souring and all of that, which we've talked about ad nauseum all summer. There's another element to this that I think is intriguing and interesting, particularly when it comes to two of the teams that, if Aaron Rodgers were to be traded, would be at the top of the list. The Broncos, we know. Why did the Broncos not draft a quarterback, and now they didn't go with their young quarterback? They're going with Teddy. Well, maybe because they're trying to keep the door open for a Rodgers trade. And the Raiders also, they were potentially in on Russell Wilson, potentially could be in on Aaron Rodgers. Those two teams are noteworthy to me because those two teams are in the AFC West. And I do wonder if Rodgers, when he's thinking about the rest of his career, what he wants to look like, he knows there is no catching Brady in the GOAT conversation, in the ring conversation, in the winning conversation. Brady has quadruple lapped the field and all of that, and quintuple lapped Rodgers with the 10 Super Bowl appearances to 1, 7 rings to 1. But Rodgers rings, 5 rings. He still had his own corner that was separate from Tom's. And that corner was what? Most talented quarterback we've ever seen. Most gifted quarterback we've ever